I'm going to tell you just about the last week in abortion rights news. Just a quick and dirty rundown of the top stories, most important things for you to know. I know this is an issue that a lot of you care deeply about. I also know it's really challenging to keep up when the attacks on reproductive rights are so unrelenting. This is what I do for a living, and so I'm going to do my best to keep you caught up. You guys seemed to like this when I did this last time, so let's just talk about the week in abortion. One of the top stories that we covered this week was about a young woman named Harmony who was denied treatment for her ectopic pregnancy in Illinois. Of all places. You are supposed to be able to get treatment for an ectopic pregnancy, which can be deadly anywhere, but certainly in Illinois, which is a pro-choice state. I interviewed Harmony for the newsletter and did a little bit of digging and found out that the OBGYN who she saw, who refused her treatment, was actually affiliated with a Catholic hospital. This is something that is happening more and more often. I've covered multiple stories like this where women in pro-choice states are being denied emergency abortion care because their healthcare provider is either at or affiliated with a Catholic institution. And while Harmony was able to get the care that she needed eventually, it was too late, unfortunately. I am going to tag her below because she's been sharing her story. She had to have her fallopian tube removed. And what makes this even more devastating is that she already had a fallopian tube removed in a previous ectopic pregnancy. And so now she is left with no fallopian tubes. You can imagine how devastating that is as a 28-year-old. I'm just incredibly grateful that she decided to share her story and raise awareness about how this is still happening across the country, even in pro-choice states. The other big story that I tracked this week were the rising attacks on abortion pills. This is something that has been happening for a long time, but it really ramped up over the last week. Republicans are pressuring the head of the FDA and the head of the HHS, RFK Jr., to take mifepristone off the market. Mifepristone is the first of two medications that you take to end a pregnancy. Their claim is that the drug is unsafe. It's total junk science bullshit. There are decades and decades of research showing that abortion medication is safe and effective, but they are desperate to ban this medication. If they can't ban it, the next best thing, the thing that they are really desperate to do, is to ban the shipping of abortion medication. And the reason they want to ban the shipping of abortion medication is that the abortion rate has not gone down in large part because women in states with bans are getting abortion medication shipped to them from doctors in pro-choice states. And so these women are getting around cruel and ridiculous laws, and Republicans are pissed about it. Speaking of cruel and ridiculous abortion bans, I have been keeping a close eye on SB 323 in South Carolina. You may have seen me make videos about this bill in the past. This is as bad as it gets. It would ban all abortion. It would make abortion punishable as a homicide, which in South Carolina can mean the death penalty. It would ban certain kinds of birth control. It would make it illegal to share a pro-choice website. It is beyond. They already had a public hearing on this bill, and they just announced that they are going to have another hearing, but this one will not be public. This one will just be the all-male subcommittee that gets to decide what happens next to this bill. And that hearing is happening November 18th at 2 p.m. in South Carolina. In state news, I'm tracking attacks on democracy, so states where abortion rights are protected, but Republicans are pushing through with restrictions anyway. The states that I sort of got into detailed coverage with were Missouri, Ohio, and Kansas. It's a little too difficult to explain over video, so you should check out the newsletter if you want more details on that. But suffice to say, these are states where abortion rights are protected in the state constitution or through the state Supreme Court, and Republicans don't give a shit. They're moving ahead with trying to ban abortion anyway. We saw a similar example of this in Virginia over the last week, where the Lynchburg City Council is pushing through an ordinance that would ban an abortion clinic from operating within 1,000 feet of parks, libraries, schools, churches, basically anywhere. It's a way to enact a backdoor ban, make it impossible for clinics to operate, even though abortion is legal. Moving on to Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis admitted in a speech last week that he knows voters want abortion to be legal. He knows that they don't support the state ban, but he just doesn't care. And also in Florida, a Republican lawmaker introduced a fetal personhood bill for the third year in a row, for the third time. And you can get details on that and details on what fetal personhood is in the newsletter. In Utah, the governor nominated an extreme conservative to the state Supreme Court. Republicans are very, very happy with this nomination, and they are going to basically make sure he sails through because they have not been thrilled with some of the state Supreme Court's rulings on abortion. They found them too lenient, so they're excited to get this new guy on the bench. Alaska's Supreme Court is set to consider whether to allow nurse practitioners and physicians' assistants to provide abortions and prescribe abortion medication, or if a state law that limits who can do that should stand. And in news that should shock absolutely no one, one of the young Republicans in that group chat, the like horrific, racist, misogynist group chat that Politico exposed, actually was working for an Arizona anti-abortion lobbying group. Anti-abortion groups are pissed off that the teen abortion rate is going up in New York, New Jersey, and Illinois. We're just happy that young people are getting the care that they need. And it's sort of ridiculous that anti-abortion activists would be pissed about the teen abortion rate when they are not willing to make birth control accessible to young people. And that is the other trend that I tracked over the last week, attacks on contraception, specifically from the Trump administration. The Trump administration fired pretty much everyone from the Office of Population Affairs, which is the federal office that oversees the nation's family planning program. This comes at the same time that Republicans are essentially decimating birth control access through the big, beautiful bill and shutting down clinics, and at the same time that the administration is redefining certain kinds of contraception as abortions. And if you want to learn more about that, I have a video on it. It's insane. In election news, I'm paying close attention to the Virginia governor's race, where the Democrat Abigail Spanberger is up against the lieutenant governor, who is an anti-abortion wacko. Like, there is no other way to put it, like, so extreme. And in national news, U.S. Senator Josh Hawley, who, by the way, is married to one of the most powerful anti-abortion attorneys in the country, he introduced legislation that would ban ACA plans from covering abortion, even when it's funded by a state. Right? Not when it's funded by federal dollars, but funded by a state. So much for leaving abortion to the states, right? I know that's a lot. Hopefully this helped you get a little bit of a handle, though, on what's going on. I write about this issue every day. If you're not subscribed already, please consider doing so. It is so important that we're on top of this. They think that we are going to be too overwhelmed to act. It's vital that doesn't happen.